Hey guys, new video here, another new video. And so this is going to be a refresher on sextants and on, I don't think I have a video on prophecies, but it's going to be talking about a little bit of prophecies as well as they relate to mapping. And I get asked all the time on stream, I'm a newer-ish player, how do I start juicing my maps? How do I get up there in the Atlas tiers? How do I do Atlas strategy? Which prophecies should I buy? Which Scarab should I buy? Which sextants do I keep? Which ones do I reroll? And it's just like too much, right? There's so many things about mapping. If you truly enjoy mapping, it's too much to answer just in one little thing, right? So what I thought I would do is I make a video focusing on maybe like a little part of it, and I can make like multiple videos, and then maybe like take a little bit from each one, and you can kind of figure out how you like to play. Now, overall statements that need to be made before you watch this video, because like some people are going to be like, that's not right, I don't like that, I do this instead, you should do this instead. Overall, you have to do what you enjoy, and you can't do the things that are too annoying that make you want to quit the game, right? There's a lot of micromanagement when it comes to mapping, and so a lot of these are obviously my feelings after having done thousands and thousands of maps, sometimes the same map, and so take everything with a grain of salt, and of course feel free to try new things. Overall, whether you don't juice at all or don't use any sextants, any prophecies, or whether you use all of them, you will still make money while mapping, unless you're doing something dumb like exalting your maps. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm going to go down here because I have sorted these by, if it says 1 right here in the middle, it means it's a white sextant. If it says 78, I think, or 73, it's a yellow sextant, and if it says 78, it's a red sextant. So when you are starting out, okay, just please keep in mind that if you are super poor, right, you might not want to skip anything. You might just want to go sextant as many as you can, and then move on, do the maps, and then sextant again. But let's go through these. So this one, unique boss drops 1 unique item. I think this one's pretty bad. It's not exactly F tier, but it's not up there, because usually you will only have like a couple uniques in the map, right? Rogue exiles count, beyond bosses count, warbands counts, and anything with an orangish name kind of counts, okay? But most of the unique items in this game are complete trash, right? And unless you have some kind of league tag on there, it can't drop the league specifics. So you're just looking at a few extra uniques. Yeah, sure, it could be a tier 1, tier 2, but most of the time it's not going to, so it's kind of wasted. Like when I actually get into mapping, I always reroll this one. Okay, this is one of the best sextants in the game, if not the best sextant in the game, if you have the un-ID'd maps available. So first, the only two things we care about is the first and the third line, right? Because if it's an identified map, you're not going to use it with the sextant, all right, because it'd be completely wasted. So 30% quantity is the same as a Tempest, except for it's guaranteed. Every map has at least 30% quant. That is very strong. Obviously gets multiplied by if you're magic find, and so free quant, always good. You will notice more items dropping, and of course more maps dropping out of these maps that you run. If you don't know, un-ID'd maps naturally have 30% quant bonus because you're running un-ID'd anyways. So an un-ID'd map that you put into the map dice plus this is 60% bonus quant. Okay, very nice. And then this one is also very good. 15% pack size is crazy good. It's like almost doubling the native pack size on a regular map, because if you just like ouch a map, if you ouch I don't know, 100 maps or something, the average quant might be like, I don't know, 21, maybe 22 or something. I don't really know, but something around there. And so adding like almost double the pack size just for the sextant is just ridiculous, right? And then so with these maps, you can kind of use this with Nico, right? Because the 6% quant kind of multiplies the Nico at a scaling coefficient depending on what tier of map you're doing. That's really good. It's really good when you have these maps and to juice them up really well with like other things, if you know what juicing is, right? Which means just adding monsters, adding different things. You can use scarabs, you can use like all these other things, right? But we won't talk about that in this video. So it just gives you so many possibilities to juice, and of course it is good on its own. So I would never reroll this unless I was unable to get the un-ID'd maps, whether by rolling some more or for whatever reasons there, right? But I'll never reroll this if I had the un-ID'd, and you have to run this with the un-ID'd maps, otherwise you get nothing. it's actually kind of a detriment. It's even like worse when you run it with accidentally with ID'd, because now every unique drops ID'd, and on most loot filters, it'll show an ID'd map, an ID'd unique or something like that. Usually it might show like an ID like corrupted or something, but you know what I mean, right? It's like really annoying. Next, area contains masters. Now this one is actually broken down into a few, because it won't actually say this on the Sextant. It will say you get June, you get Nico, and you get Zaba, right? So Zaba gives you an extra map in there, very nice for sustain if you want to run it. Later on when you're overstaying, you'll probably skip it if it's Zaba, or you'll re-roll, because it's not actually like real monsters in the map that you are sextanting, right? If you go into a Zaba map, right, she gives you a quest, you choose Strand, and you go in there, it doesn't get the rolls from the map, and it doesn't get the sextants from the map, it doesn't get the prophecies from your original map, so it's like a little bit weak, right? Nico, always good. Delve is amazing. Usually with Nico, I would usually never re-roll it, unless for some reason you hate Delve, right? And then of course June is very good. June is actually very good for sustain. It's very good for items, lots of monsters, if you get the safe house, it's like a ton of rats in there, right? So it's like June is like actually pretty insane. But if you can't handle the betrayal, you don't like the betrayal crashes your game or something, then you might want to re-roll that one. But overall, if you get a master, Alba as well. Alba for the incursion temple is very strong. Some of the best items in the entire game are made in the temple, and so all the masters you can get are pretty darn good, and I would usually keep these especially if you're poor. Definitely keep those. Okay, this one, invasion boss, complete garbage. Okay, invasion bosses are akin to a rogue exile in a map, and imagine you got a sextant that said like one rogue exile. Obviously they drop maybe a little bit more, but they add a little bit of difficulty if your build is bad, if it's early in the league, and it's just like nothing, right? But so this is usually a instant reroll for me. I don't really like this one at all. And also, and then if your build is good, you don't notice this at all. This is like one guy that gets one shot off screen. It's like whatever. This one, okay, this one's pretty bad. It's an instant reroll for me, because yeah, you get a little bit of speed, but it's like onslaught basically, but it adds no monsters, no quantity, right? And that's the general rule for these sextants. If it adds monsters or the possibility of monsters or the quantity, then you keep it. Now, once again, if you're poor, you can do this because it will make the next 3 maps you run a little bit faster. And of course, farming like faster maps faster is akin to having more quantity, I guess. Okay, this one, fire damage. So these are all the same, right? Well, except for this physical one, but let's get into that in a second. Fire, cold, and lightning I will always keep. I'll never reroll those because it's like decent pack size. It's about like 200 monsters extra on the map, so pretty OP. And the lightning monsters are the Blackguard archers, right? So those guys can be kind of scary. They like shock you and stuff. But the cold monsters, like sometimes they're like ice golem, sometimes something else. Fire monsters, you don't have to worry about those. They are harmless. And then the physical one is the same thing, except they have a proxy shield. And proxy shield, if you're not a dot build, can be kind of annoying because they're all over the map. Proxy shield is timed on these, and they will go away eventually. But if you're playing on predictive and stuff like that, it could be a little bit annoying. So I usually reroll this because, especially if you're a bow character with King of the Hill on your skill tree, you're going to be knocking, it's like hella lag. And so yeah, this is usually a reroll. But if you can handle it or you don't mind proxy shields, 200 free monsters in that map. This one, Slipstreams, same exact reasoning as this one, so I won't go over it. This is an instant reroll for me. Also kind of laggy on the map sometimes if you have a bad computer. Okay, so also doesn't stack with, I don't think that this actually stacks with Tailwind really, with the Deadeye. I could be wrong about that one though. So this one, maps have 20% quality. Now this one is actually good for unique maps that you will not spend 20 chisels or a beautiful guide prophecy on that map, right? So it's like, free quantity for unique maps if you get it. It can be, if for some reason it's like a lower tier, white, yellow, and you're not qualitying it, 20% quality is 20% quantity. So that's pretty good. I mean, I'll keep it if your map is not quality, but if you're doing tier 16s or the higher tiers early on, you're probably chiseling because chisels are super cheap early on, and you probably reroll this. So if you don't have any quality, yeah, sure, keep it. Why not? It's good. This one is really, really bad because it doesn't really make you faster, and it doesn't really add monsters, doesn't add any quant. It's just like damage. You're not really gonna notice that, and standing still is like really bad in this game. So that's an instant reroll for me. Players and monsters onslaught, they've been hit recently. Now this one's super bad because every build always has onslaught in some way. 100% increased effect. You're like 20% faster, I guess. It's the same thing as this right here. Okay, so same reasoning. I would always reroll that one. 30% pack size. Now this one I used to reroll. I used to reroll all the time because I was like, I mean, it's like whatever, it doesn't apply to the whole map. It's actually really good because if you get 30% increased pack size and you have a map, you filter for it for more magic monsters, then it's good because you know it already has more magic monsters, and now the pack sizes are you know, a little bit more monsters, so it's like it's pretty good. Okay, I'll keep this if you have maps that have the mod more magic monsters. They'll also have a bloodline mod in the map title if you want to search for that. Right, you can just type in bloodline in your search filter. So I keep this if I have like a bunch of pre-rolled maps that I can filter out for that. If you don't have pre-rolled maps and you don't have any magic, then maybe re-rolling for like just like guaranteed number of monsters up here is better. This one, Rogue XL. So this one's something I've been thinking about lately. I always re-roll this because Rogue SLs are trash. They've been trash for a long time now. I think they need an update. Additional 2 jewels. This is really bad. I mean, sure, maybe one of those jewels becomes an Inspire Learning or an Unnatural Instinct or something like that, but it's not going to. Okay, it's going to be complete trash, and overall, it's like adding, you know, like maybe, you know, half a magic pack to a map. It's so bad. So I reroll this for now. Now this one's pretty good. This one is good in terms of like it gives you 3 rare monster packs. Okay, it doesn't list how many, but you can just see it in the map, in the map mods in the top right corner. If you run a rare map, you'll get 3 additional rare monster packs. I mean, they buffed rare monsters recently so that the entire pack has like more quantity and stuff, but sometimes I keep it, sometimes I don't. It really depends on how lazy I am. I think the other mods are a lot better. Okay, so this one, players cannot take reflected damage. This one's pretty good, okay? Because when you go through and you roll your maps, and even if you corrupt your maps, you're gonna see a lot of maps are reflect, right? Like they're not that many, maybe like 5%, maybe less, I don't know. So what this will do is it'll allow you to take some juicy maps, you know, because what if you corrupt and you have an 8 mod reflected that your character can't do? You can save it for the Sextant. The Sextant is extremely common to the point where you will run out of reflected maps really fast if you're matching them 3 at a time with the Sextant. Okay, apparently it doesn't apply to minions, I hear, like zombies and stuff, but your minions are so strong, and they're probably gonna nerf minions next week anyways, so not that big a deal. Okay, but it makes you immune to any kind of reflected damage. Okay, so very strong. Save your maps. You don't have to, saves you a lot of, like, you know, just like breaking maps, I guess. Now these barrels, I would never initially reroll. Okay, I would always keep it to go into the map to check what it is, because although there's 5, you might think that the 5 different types of barrels are evenly weighted, but they are not. I've done a lot of testing on this. I've recorded the data over, like, you know, at least 100 maps, and I can tell you that worm barrels is 50% chance. Okay, it's a 1 out of 2 chance to get the worm barrels, and then 1 out of 2 chance to get some of the other ones. Okay, worm barrels gives you regular, magic, and rare monsters, and they give you a lot of them, like a hell of a lot of them. Really good for spawning beyond, really good for quantity, really good for dropping maps and all that, and they are really fun. Okay, good for keeping up stacks of certain things. And so if you get that, that's amazing. Now, what are the other kinds that you're going to see? You're going to see a red barrel with red wood splinters on the ground. You know, obviously sometimes your build is really fast, really flashy. You're not going to really see the barrels explode. But if you see the red splinters on the ground, that means that's the exploding barrels, or if you just see the red barrels. Now, if you're too close and get hit by a pack of them, you can die very easily. But they are big quantity. I've dropped a lot of maps out of them. I've dropped a lot of items out of them. They are good, but they are deadly. The next one is a bear's barrel, right? So the Bloodlines mob, storm bears, you know, flame bears, things like this, they will just do random bears, including physical bears and stuff like that show up in the map, in the barrel, and they do take a long time to detonate. Okay, because I think the bears are affected by attack and cast speed on the map, but the barrel ones are like pretty bad, so you have time to like grab the loot out of the bear set if you need to. They are also a little bit of quantity there as well. They do drop items, so if you're okay with that, you don't need to re-roll. There's another one that's just like a regular exploding barrel. It has like a quantity one, right, that like doesn't really do much. And so with these barrel mods, I would re-roll only if it's a map where you like really don't want to die. You know, let's say it's like minus max, where you have LE weakness and you don't have a warding, and things like this, where like running into a bears or a explodey barrel might kill you and you don't want to lose your XPs, then you can re-roll it. But I'll definitely always go into the map first with this roll and see if it's worms, because 50% chance it's gonna be worms. Okay, this one's Strongbox. I'll never re-roll this one. This one's amazing. 500% increased item quantity, and those monsters, that gets multiplied by your magic find if you have any as well. Okay, it also works with the map magic find anyways. And so what you will do is on Strongboxes, make sure you alchemy these Strongboxes, because if you get like stream of monster skeletons, rare monster pack, or 3 rare monsters, sorry, or magic monster pack, or anything like this, right? You're gonna just have so much more items dropping and so many more maps dropping. So definitely keep this. Try to bring in a stack of alchemies if you can remember it. Okay, it's really good, and this also leads into monsters treasure and things like that we'll talk about later for certain maps. The poison, the poison monster one is the same as the one above with the monster. It just adds like a couple hundred monsters, but there are some memes you can do with builds where like you poison, you get a bunch of poisons on you, and then but you're unaffected and you just run super fast. Kind of cool, right? But just think about this monsters pack size. It's really nice. Hunter traders, very high quantity monsters. You will see them as like humanoids fighting the other monsters. So first they like tank for you, right? Because it like locks up the other dangerous monsters in the map. They fight each other, and you just go and you just kill them all. Very high quantity, very high rarity, drops a lot of stuff, right? So you can like kind of juice your map if you see this. That's really nice. Now, areas contain additional monsters. This one, these conversion monsters are little tiki totems, right? They're tiki totems. They can have auras, which help you out as well. Now, they do not drop very many items, as just like their base monster just doesn't have very much quantity or rarity. So they like drop almost nothing, but they are unbelievably good at spawning beyond, to the point where if you actually have a beyond map, they'll probably spawn like at least the rare packs, and then if it's double beyond, it will almost always spawn like a beyond boss. Okay, and so with these the auras help you. You know, it is good XP, so I would almost always keep this one. If you are using a Lavianjas for any reason for your build, you have to re-roll this, because it'll actually break your Lavianjas in that map. But otherwise, you can think of it as just a pack size roll. Monsters same as above, pretty good. Okay, so unique bosses. This one early on I keep because it might be an extra map here and there, and then a little bit of extra monsters. But later on in the league, I always re-roll it because it's trash compared to anything else you can really get. Breach, very good. Breaches are buffed. They are good. The speed has been buffed, and if you're doing higher tiers, Chai respawns all the time. I would almost always keep this, unless I am in a map like Tower or like Alleyways or something, then I might not. Abyss is very, very good because you can get like the good items from the liches. You can get the 2-socket Toomey Fist, the 2-socket Murder Boots, the Bubonic Trails. You can get a 2-socket Light Pusher even. Those are great Corruption Chamber candidates. And it's just kind of slow. It can go the wrong way. If it goes all the way backwards, you're backtracking in that map, and yeah, it's kind of annoying. So I re-roll this because I don't like how slow it is, but you shouldn't re-roll it because it is so good. Okay, this one, I love this one. You never under any circumstances do you re-roll a Gloom Shrine. A Gloom Shrine is basically giving you a free synthesis explodey weapon, except for it's child's based, not physical based, so it's a little bit worse. But it's basically like the Aki's Profane Bloom, but 100%. And the kill condition is just monster killed. You don't have to kill it. It's just a monster dies and there's an explosion. It's insane. And it chains off itself, just like the physical exploding weapon. Ridiculous. And also it basically adds domination to your map. Usually when you get this, you have 3 shrines with monsters around them. Don't re-roll this. Same thing with this. Do not re-roll this under any circumstances. Free shrines, which are huge character power, increased duration so it lasts longer, and then of course you get the domination and you get the resounding shrine, which makes all your charges, your 3 charges, do way more. So for example, the frenzy charge, instead of giving you 4%, it'll give you 11% more damage, right? And then the resounding shrine also gives you the ability to gain charges of all types, right? So you'll just have all the charges at max all the time. Amazing. Okay, Whale monsters, I like this. These are just like temple monsters, scary ghosts and stuff like that. Think of it as pack size. And the corruption. Now the corruption thing is basically, you know, those monsters specifically have the 20% chance. So you might get like a 6-link here and there. You might also get like your Headhunter corrupted if you run Nemesis on your map. If these monsters would drop something really juicy and it hits the 1 in 5 chance to be corrupted, well, then you might brick your item, okay? But it's such a small chance that you should probably keep this here. Okay, now these are the interesting ones. The Tormented Betrayer, basically, it just adds a ghost or two, and the first 10 possessed monsters, which is like a rare or a orange boss monster, they drop a random rusted Scarab. Now, early on, I would actually use Possessed Foe with this because the Possessed Foe is so cheap. But then later on, I would only do this with Polished and Gilded. So early on, keep it. Later on, only keep it if it's Polished, which is a yellow Sextant on a yellow map, or Gilded, which is a red Sextant on a red map, okay? And then, but I'll talk about Possessed Foe in a second. Ares can Tormented Grave Robber for a unique item. Now this one I actually skip all the time once again, just for the fact that most uniques that you'll be getting are going to be 99.99999% of the time. It's going to be complete trash, okay? Now this one also whale monsters here, and this is the chest. You'll get one chest, and if you put in moral fragments, you can get things like a bloodstained fossil. Bloodstained weapons can be very expensive early on, and they can get your whale skills going. So early on, I would keep it and try to use some fragments on there. It could be pretty good. You can make a lot of money off of it. But later on, it is an instant reroll because it's just one chest, right? I don't want to have the hassle of bringing in fragments to my maps. Next one, items dropped by unique bosses are corrupted. Now this one is this was a yellow section. I usually skip this one, right? Unless I have Beyond. If I have Beyond, you spawn so many Beyond mobs that it's like kind of cool, I guess, but I don't think it's as good as a lot of the other things, okay? Okay, so I would usually reroll this. This one, Area's Chalice monsters, same as the monster packs above, pretty nice. And then this one, unique monsters drop corrupted. Wait, I don't think it's the same thing. I think these two are the same thing. I don't know why I listed it twice. Okay, this one, quality bonus also applies to rarity, and the unique boss have an increased life. Rarity is an interesting topic that I will have a separate video for, but I would always reroll this one. I don't think it's very good because there's so many other better options. Erika's this was the Forsaken Master one that I talked about before. Now this one is different than the 500%. Now this one, the Strongboxes, the monsters from it don't have 5% of quality, but they are already rolled and corrupted. So rolling Strongbox is super annoying. That's why I don't do Monsters Treasure anymore. But if you get this and you get the Enraged one, it's really cool because not only are the monsters dropping a lot, but the Strongbox is already rare and corrupted, which is nice. So I usually keep this one. It's pretty nice, you know. I don't have to roll, and it's fun. So I do keep this one. This one doesn't do anything for you either way, so it's an instant reroll. And these are the ones I talked about before with the masters. I forgot to mention Einhar. Einhar's really good. Red beasts are very strong, and sometimes very expensive. Essences, now early on I would definitely keep this, right? Because it's guaranteed rare monsters with a nice pack, and with essences have a higher quantity rarity than other rare monsters, and some of the essences sell for quite a bit, so not bad. And then we have this one. Now this is also, you never reroll this one. Under no circumstance do you reroll this one. Put in put in a Harbinger Scarab if you have to, if they're cheap enough. Put the Harby 4C mod on the map. You'll pay for it many times over because of the ancient shards, the Harbinger orbs, and the exalted shards that will drop from this one, right? Basically, with this one, you'll also want to do at least if you have a process called like the Deadly Twins, you can try that. It doubles the boss, but it's better if you just like search for the map roll, right? Search for the map roll of 2 unique bosses. You can just type in 2 into the search function and you'll get it, because if you double the boss, you get double the currency shards. They'll drop like ancient shards, exalted shards, harbinger shards, which are the best ones. So yeah, really good. This one, corrupted whale monsters. Now this one is it's pretty good because pack size, and if you have any whale skills, they'll recharge faster. Pretty cool, right? So I do keep this one. This one, the Polished Scarab, as I talked about, definitely keep this one. Use Possessed Foe when this happens and run Warbands to guarantee the 10. If it's a mix between, let's say you get this and then you get the Harbinger one and you're like, oh shit, I don't know whether to do the Harbinger roll or the Warbands roll. What you should do then, if you get this, is you can use a Possessed Foe if you want, right? Depending on the time and the price of the Scarabs, and you can run a June mission on the map, right, from the Master herself. The June mission on Fortification guarantees 4. The boss guarantees 1. That's 5 Scarabs, and then usually somewhere in there in the other things you'll get another one. So that's like about 6 on average for Scarabs, and you still get to run the Harbinger map mod to guarantee the 2 extra Harbingers for the more ancient shards, right? This really depends on the Scarab prices and how lucky you feel, right? So that's one option you could do, but most of the time you'll just be using, once again, you have to use Possessed Foe no matter what, but most of the time you'll be running Warbands to guarantee the 10 Scarabs. Additional Legion encounter, never reroll this. Use a Legion Scarab if you have to, like a good one, because if it's an open map, then you will have like 2 generals, you know, higher tiers, more chance of Templar and Mariketh. This is really good. Pylons are some of the best things in the game. They nerfed them a little bit in 3.0. This, we might see some changes in 3.9, but Legions are hella nerfed overall, and they are extremely hella nerfed in white and yellow. So this is like really good in reds, but in whites and yellows is like a little bit whatever. But pylons are still fun, right? Good drops, chance of headhunter because it's anything league, and yeah, it's great sextant. This one is a red sextant only. You have to have nemesis on the map. You can have it rolled on the map, or you can put it on the map through the Zaba device for 4C, which it is currently, and you will make the money back. And it's really good with Beyond. Without Beyond, it's kind of whatever, but with Beyond, you're gonna get so much money when you hit this sextant. Okay, just make sure you have nemesis on the map, and then you're running like things that add rare monsters, right? Breaches, Harbingers, even ambush boxes if you want to roll those, and all this stuff. Okay, Ares Alerting doesn't actually do anything to the map. I've heard that it might have a higher chance of Krillson spawning, but that's like kind of a meme, and it doesn't do anything. It's just rare. Reroll this. Unique bosses of corrupted maps. Okay, so this one is kind of interesting because in a map like this, right, red map sextant, you're going to be corrupting your maps. Corruption orbs are just way too good, and so you might get some bricked items. You might get some 6 links. I think it's really fun. I'll usually keep this, but if I just want like straight up monster pack, I'll reroll it. This one is really good. Now, the Beyond roll on a map is 13%, okay? Chance for a portal. The Beyond roll from the Zaba map device is 15%, right? It's 28%. And you know how like with the way with like it goes with the resist and stuff, like every little percentage you get more is actually better because, you know what I mean? Same thing with Beyond, right? The less variance in how you can spawn a portal, the more consistently you'll see Beyond bosses and just like tons of rares shoot out of those portals. This one's only 6%, but when it does spawn, okay, you have an additional Beyond Demon, which could be like, you know, anything. It could be one of the humanoid guys, it could be one of the squigglies, but you will definitely notice more Beyond spawning with this. This is best in a league where you can get triple Beyond. Oh, sorry, not triple Beyond. You can get the 2 Beyonds, one from the roll on the map, one from the map device, and then this one. I wouldn't reroll this just because Beyond is super fun and a lot of quantity because the monster can't be white. And this one's gilded. This is a red map only, so same rules as above. And Torn Heretic. Now this one, the map one, I've always re-rolled this one, but I've never tested this to see how often it gives the good maps, right? So if I run Possessed Foe on this, and it's kind of bad because like if it possesses 10 and it's 25% chance to drop an additional map, it's only 2.5, right? But what if it's weighted higher for like Prandus Manor or like other things? I don't actually know how this works, so I just re-roll it. This one, Corrupted Whale Monsters, and then no soul gain. This one's pretty rare, and this one's kind of hilarious because I keep it because you just get a good amount of whale monsters in there already. But if you are using a whale skill that doesn't have a 0 soul gain, like Ice Nova, Fireball, things like this, you could just spam your skill infinitely, and it's pretty hilarious. So I'll definitely keep this, especially if you're a whale skill. Okay, that's the current sextants. This is I have a video from before talking about this, but I want to make a new one because, you know, for this league, and they added the new red sextants. Let's talk about prophecies to go with your maps. Now, the prophecies here that I'm going to talk about are just very generic, okay, and some notable combos. So, Tempest, this is good if you are running Nico because it will give you extra fuel for the delve, but then overall it's a flat bonus to the quantity. So all these 5, any of them, it doesn't matter. Find a bulk seller and just run them, spam them on your maps, always good. Whale Winds does not give any quantity, but what it does give is a red circle, like a red Tempest on the ground. The monsters it hits will drop corrupted items. If it hits you, which is what you want to do, any monster you kill will drop corrupted items. So the strategy is to hit yourself with the Tempest, go around, kill everything for as long as the timer is, take out your Mirage Archer so you don't scuff the kills, and then wait for the next Tempest, or try to find it while the first Tempest is already going, right? Because it'll refresh the first one. The base duration is 4 seconds. If you extend it with Self-Curse Temp Chain's max effect, it's 16 seconds. And then with a Solstice Virgil, I think it's what, 7 seconds? So it ticks down, it's like 6 seconds. So this is really good on like Coward's Trawl and like really juiced maps because you'll get a lot of divines from this. Okay, this is for divine farming. I don't find it very fun because you have to wait around for the Tempest. You could scuff it in a number of ways, and while you're waiting for the next one, you could just like die because the monsters can just hit you. Now, these are unique item ones, so I'm not going to go over these. I'm just trying to go over the ones that apply to the maps. Okay, so this is a fun one. Overflowing Riches. If you have a prophecy dealer, they are going to have a lot of these that they can't sell because like not many people buy these in bulk. So you can probably get these for like 1 ounce or less. You might even get better deals than that in bulk. And it's just a random. It's just a random proc. Like sometimes if you spam these in your inventory, really annoying to do by the way, because you gotta load up your inventory. You can get like 6 of them in like 5 seconds to proc, right? It's like boom, boom, boom. You just like once it procs, you hit another one, and you know it's 10 random currency orbs, right? So you can get some nice things from this. It's just annoying to do, annoying to buy, but it's kind of fun in maps if you want to do it. Okay. Let's talk about like cool things here. Deadly Twins you can use whenever you get this because it doubles the what's it called, the map bosses, and it has a note here. This is cool that they have this here. Yeah, you can't get 4, and on 3 maps if it's doubled for 6 monsters you can't get like 12, right? It'd be ridiculous. So Deadly Twins is nice if for whatever reason you're really poor and you just want to double the boss. Okay, doesn't work in Jardian maps anymore. It used to though, a long time ago. It's pretty funny. Okay, next let me go down here to Monster's Treasure. Now Monster's Treasure I would only use on a map that has an amazing div card that you really want to farm. Okay, so you'll do this and then you pair this with the Sextant that we talked about, the enraged 500% Sextant. Roll the boxes and there you go, hit them and you should be yeah, you should be good to go. Now this prophecy deletes the monsters from the zone. So if you need any kind of like ramp up or something, you might be careful there. Certain packs do still spawn, but also Scarabs, if you're using it with this, it does delete a lot of the Scarabs. Okay, so I think that it deletes Harbinger. I think it deletes some of the Scarabs. I forgot which ones. Okay, next, Plague of Frogs, Plague of Rats. Frogs is for outdoors maps, okay? Outdoors maps, alleyways, dunes, beach, things like this, right? Plague of Rats is for indoor maps. Think cells, think dungeon layouts, things like that, tower. But Barrow Chambers is actually rats, in case you care about that. These monsters actually don't drop any items really, but they spawn beyonds. It's also good for chaining. It's also good for stacking Rampage. I would not really run these if you don't have Beyond on the map device, okay, or Beyond rolled on the map. So this league is bad for it. Next league is going to be amazing for it. Possessed Foe, this is a big one for all the Scarab farming. Okay, you will be using this. You will proc it. It's not, once again, prophecies are not 100% proc rate, so remember to seal them. Remember to seal this one if it doesn't proc after the 3 sextants, or else you'll lose it on the map with no ghosts. So it guarantees it basically guarantees a bunch of the unique monsters to be possessed. Okay, you don't have to wait for a ghost to chase into the monsters. Okay, so with warbands there's there's probably like on average like 18, 20, 22 warbands in the map. Only works for the Scarab. Sextant only works for the first 10, so be careful there. You don't like put too many uniques in the map somehow just to try to proc this. You only need the warbands roll. And so you'll proc it, and then you will go into the map with Sextant. That's it. If it procs, congratulations, you get 10 rusted, polished, or gilded. and that's about it. Later on in the league, it is very expensive. So once again, polished or gilded only later on in the league. What else do we have? We have. I'm just like doing this one take. So the twins, this doubles the reflected map. This doubles the rares in the map, right? So instead of one rare right there, it'll be two. Really good. Does not work with the reflected sextant, right? The reflected sextant already gives you like double rares, and so this one doesn't do anything. Another thing you can do, Trembling Earth is Devos. Now Devos are annoying because they're like hidden, right? But it does add monsters. There's also things like things you can do with what's it called, the Hungering Swarm for like the carrion queens and a bunch of insects. There's also Cursed Choir for sea witches. These are also good for monsters. They're kind of like frogs and rats. They are non like specific to an indoor outdoor. So you can proc Choir, or you can proc Hungering Swarm and things like that. There's another one I'm forgetting. You can proc it in any map, so that's what's great about that. So you can buy that. It's a lot cheaper than frogs and rats. The difference though, it's like, why wouldn't you just get those then? It's because frogs and rats are the most dense. So for spawning beyond, nothing comes close to how packed together the frogs and the rats are, because the portals need to coagulate to form the bigger monsters, and so the closer the monsters are together, the better. Waiting in ambush, you can do some fun stuff with this. There's a lot of prophecies in this game that do not take up the purple line item in the top right, and those ones you can like infinitely spam, okay? And they like work alongside the ones that do take up the line item, and those are, so the thing that take up the entire prophecy like line item for the map are things like the Tempest, right? The Monster's Treasure, things like this. But there's a lot of things that you'll find out that don't do that you can spam alongside it if you want to. Just a little side note. Bountiful Traps is really good when you get the enraged Strongbox Sextant, because then all those 6 boxes are now 500%ers. Pretty good. Also go with the rare corrupted one if you want to do it. Bountiful Traps is usually very cheap for what it does, okay? Like extremely cheap from prophecy dealers. So you can spam it even if you don't have the Sextant. I really like this prophecy. Okay. Other things that are in here, Hunter's Lesson is really cheap. Now this one's pretty funny because you get the rare steal, like an Inspire Learning for from the Headhunter for one rare monster for 60 seconds. It lasts a long time. It's pretty fun. Calandra's Craft, early on you can use it in Katarina. You can use it for other things to get to get multiple of one item. Dream Trial, this one right here, Dreamer's Dream. This one will not take up the line item. You can have this procced in the background, and it just procs randomly when you kill a boss. It's not 100% chance, but if you kill a T16 boss, maybe that boss will drop you another T16 map, right? So you can have this going on. It's just annoying to manage multiple processes, so I usually don't do this, but it can help your sustain. Fortune Teller's Collection, to be used on maps that have a good divination card, okay? Procs really often. Now, I've been told that it drops cards from that map, right? It tries to, right? So that's why you want a good div card map, but usually it's gonna be her mask, okay? What else is there? Other than that, that's all I want to talk about today. Yeah, I think I got through all the usual stuff here. So that's what I think about the prophecies. This is like a basic guide for newish players to the game who want to maybe like get a little bit more info on some of the cool stuff in the game that you can do with the Sextants and the prophecies. And so yeah, stream every day on Twitch. So you guys want to watch me or have any questions about any of this stuff, you can ask me at twitch.tv/cuteDog_. Okay, thanks for watching my video, guys. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you. Bye.